Hello guys, this is Rony Velasquez with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, California Properties on another class in regards to technology. A few months ago, I did a video in regards to Zipforms, and the video does explain the process of creating transactions in Zipforms and so on and so forth. But I wanted to do an updated video because Zipform has changed its platform, and some of the icons have changed and some of the things have moved around a little bit. So I wanted to do some kind of an update on that. I'm not going to teach you how to use Zipforms in this video because that's a whole nother training seminar, another 15 minutes of training. This one here is going to be a quick overview of the new changes that Zipform has. For another training in regards to Zipforms and how to use it, I'm going to create a different video for that. So let's get into that right now. So in order to go into Zipforms, what you need to do is you need to go into www.car.org, which is going to bring you to the main page here. And from here, you can go to Access Zipforms, and I have already done that. And then once you go to the new platform, it's going to open the new platform, which I already have. So this is where you're going to land right now. You're going to land in your transaction page, all right? So some of the things that were there before, they're here now. They just changed the image a little bit. You have the new dashboard here. Dashboard supposedly keeps track of all your transactions. You know how many transactions you have, how many properties in escrow, and so on. This is like a CRM system that they're trying to do in order for you to have transactional real estate and your contact database in one place. And I think it works really well if you want to use it. I personally don't use it. I really don't, keep up on the amount of transactions that I have and the listings and the sales and the contacts and all that. I really don't. But if you want to use it as a contact database, a point of reference of where your business is, etc., you're welcome to use it. But right now we're going to focus on what is transactions. Now, before I go into transactions, what I want to do is I want to go back into templates a little bit. If you see this button here that says templates, templates is a really, really good, cool thing that you should have on your Zipforms account. A template basically is a folder with documents that you put together on any transaction that you can create. So for me personally, I have my three main templates that I use, which is my seller package, I have my buyer package, and I have my commercial business and sales, commercial sales and business sales folder. So what I did is I came here, I'm going to show you right now. So what I did is I came here and I created a new template with all the forms that I need to have in order to represent a buyer, and all the forms that I need to have in order to represent a seller, and obviously on the commercial side as well. But here's the form. So I start with the cover sheet, which is the most important one, because when you put information in the cover sheet, it drips all over the forms. So whenever you put, for example, the buyer's name on the cover sheet, it drips through all the forms, and that's going to save you like a lot of time because you only put it once and then it drips through the form. So you can put buyer's name, seller's name, your information, your affiliates information if you have those as well. So what I have done on my cover sheet is that I pretty much pre-filled everything that I could, everything that I knew that is needed in order to create a transaction. So I checked off already here where it says signature lines, the signatures. And the reason I checked this off is because this is where Zipforms pulls the information for the digital ink or the DocuSign signatures. So I want to make sure that you have the name of the person here, the email address. Whether you have the rest of the information, that's totally up to you. But at least you need to have the name of the person and the email address. So it's important that you have your check marks already there. So you have buyer check marks. I have my seller check marks. In this case, this is a package for buyers, so I'm representing a buyer on this transaction. So it would be for sellers, it will be owners on title. I don't go to title and research the name of the people. I mean, that's time consuming. And at the end, whatever's on title, it's what it is. So I just put owners on title. I never had a problem with that. You may want to check with your managers, make sure that's okay with them. But, for me, I just do it that way. Never had a problem. I pre-fill the state of California since I only do real estate in California at this moment. I pre-fill the state of California there. Legal description, I said see prelim. For example, on residential properties, I have residential. Escrow information because I'm representing a buyer, and obviously escrow in most cases is determined by the seller. I put seller's choice. And then obviously my information as a selling agent, leasing broker information, lender information, appraisal information, title company, etc. Now, I do have a package that I put together as a sample, and I'm gonna put it in the description of this video. So you could look down on the description of the video and you click on the link. There's gonna be a sample package. Now, by all means, I disclaim any liability that may come from using these forms. You need to ask your broker manager, what are the right forms for your office and the forms that you need to have in order to close a transaction and have a broker package. But these are the most commonly forms that we use, and I put them on a package so you can see, and you can just use this as an example. All right. So, anyways, that's that. So this is the cover page. All right. So let's go back into templates once again. So as you can see here, we have our templates, and I have all the forms already that I need: cover sheet, purchase agreement. If this is an FHA, obviously I'm going to need the mandatory clause, cooperating broker compensation, they get you a home inspection, market advisory, and so on and so on and so on and so forth. I even added an extra form here called mold disclosure that is required in our office. It may or may not be required in your office, but it is required in our office. So what I did is I uploaded it from my computer. So to upload forms, all you have to do is go into the uploads, and I'm going to show you how to do that in a second. Now, I also locked the template because I found myself overriding the template every once in a while. So they have a new feature, which is lock, unlock. So what I did is I locked the template so I don't change it anymore because I kept making that mistake. So once you finish your template, you want to make sure to lock it so you don't change it once it's done. And obviously, you can unlock it and make changes as you go along, but that's important. So now, once you have done your templates, the next thing that you want to do is you want to go into transactions. And in transactions, what you're going to do is you're going to click on this button that says new transaction. And once you go there, you're going to select the type of transaction this is, so new listing, new offer to purchase, etc. And once you put that, I usually put on the title the address of the property because I carry them by address. So I put by address of property, sometimes the name of the person, but for the most part, the address of the property. Then you click on the property type, whether it's residential, commercial, industrial, whatever, and then you select your package from here. And that's as easy as it is. So in this case, I'm just going to call it test, so I can do a test for you. So this is going to be a residential purchase. So I'm going to do a buyer package, and I'm going to save. Once I do that, it's going to create a transaction, and it's going to bring me over to this screenshot right here. And this is where most people get lost. They're like, oh my God, there's a lot of information. I don't know where to go. It's really simple. This is not complicated, all right? Now, this one here, it's information that, once again, if you're using Zipforms as a CRM, you're using as a central operational for your transactions, you may want to fill in all the information here. Now, the property information is going to download from the MLS. I'm going to show you how to do that in a second. But if you want, you can also put all the other information in here as you want it. But for right now, we're not going to do that. The next thing that I want to do is I want to go into the forms. And in order to go into the forms, I'm just going to go to this button right here. And then that's going to take me to the forms. And as you can see here, all the forms are already there. Now, the other way to do this is to start from scratch, meaning you don't have a template, which I highly recommend that you have a template on your Zipforms, okay? But if you don't have a template, what's going to happen is when you create a transaction, I'm going to create another transaction right now. So a new transaction, and I'm going to call it, I'm going to do new purchase. I'm going to call it test 2. And I'm going to do residential, and I'm not going to apply any template. When I save this, what's going to happen is that if I go to forms right here, there's not going to be any forms because you didn't create a template. You didn't use a template for that. So it didn't create any forms. Now, I could, if I already had a template and I just forgot to attach the template to the transaction, I can just go to this button right here that says apply template. And now I can search for the template and I can apply it from here. It's going to ask me if you want to override the information, if there's anything there, and voila, then you have your template. And then you can do that too. You can do it either way. I usually do it at the beginning rather than come in here and do it from here, but you can do that as well. Here's another thing too, another interesting thing too, that if you're representing both buyers and sellers, and you have a template for buyers and a template for sellers, you can actually do both of them into one transaction. I find it to be a little bit more complicated, so I kind of always separate them. But if you can also go here. If you want, you can also go here and click on seller package, and then once you do apply, boom, it's going to download all the seller packages forms as well. Now, once again, for me particularly, I just try to keep them separated, buyers forms and sellers forms in separate folders, so that way I don't get confused. But once again, if you're representing both parties, both buyers and sellers in one transaction, if you're doing dual agency, you can actually merge all of the forms into one, list of forms, and now you have both of their information in one place. And that's something that you could do too. You can work it out either way. So now, if you wanted to change a form, what you need to do is you need to click on the form. Now, but let me show you something else. If you wanted to change a form and you're already inside a form and you wanted to change another form, all you have to do is go here to My Forms, and it's going to give you a list of all the forms that you have in this folder. And so you can go, you don't have to go back and you go down, you can just click this button there and you can go to the forms. If you wanted to add a form, you see where it says here, all forms right here? So all you have to do is click on all forms, and there you have it, all the forms that are available. The ones that are in blue are the ones that you already have. So if there's something in blue, you already have it. If you wanted to add another form, let's say I'm just going to use an additional signature, all you have to do is click on it, and once you click on it, it's going to be added. It says now that it's added, and now it's going to turn blue here, and you can do it that way. If you wanted to search for a form, all you have to do is go into the search menu and just search for whatever. So I'm just going to type business to see what comes up. So there you go. You have a few business disclosures in there, right? So now you can just click on the form. Another thing that most people don't know about Zipforms is that you have different libraries with different forms. I mean, they have a lot of forms in here. The one that comes by default is the California Association of Realtors library. But if you click on this button right here and you go to the list, look at all these libraries that you have here. One of the libraries that I used is the California EPUBs, which gives me the residential hazards and the, what they call it, the earthquake book. So you can see here I already selected from this library, which I'm in the California EPUBs right now. I already selected the residential environmental hazards, protect your family home energy efficiency, homeowner's guide of earthquake, and earthquake hazardous report, which is the ones that we are required to have in our brokerage. If there's any other forms that you are required to have, you can pull them from here. So you also have those, and there's another one here that I like, which is this one here, the California Association of Realtors sample forms. And if you go to the sample forms, they have a lot of forms in here that are very, very good. They have one, it's called abandonment personal. There's one that I used the other day, which is the moving. I think it was like moving, let me see, it was for the buyer. Let me see, what is it? Give me 1 second. I don't know if I found it here on the other one. Anyways, I found a form that I was looking for right here, and you can find it there. Maybe it's in the different one. Helpline, multiple listing service. Maybe I put it somewhere else. I can't remember. Anyways, but they have different libraries here, so I recommend that you check it out. There's also a checklist that tells you the checklist for buyers and the checklist for sellers that tells you the step-by-step instructions on working with buyers and sellers, and I think that's just fantastic. I mean, you should have that like in every file that you have. So that's another good thing. Now let's go back to talk about e-signatures now. Oh no, let's talk about MLS first. The MLS Connect. All right, so if I were in the, let me go back to my forms. I'm going to go into the cover sheet. See, if I were to go in the cover sheet, and let's say that the property is listed in the MLS, right? You don't want to do by hand. You don't want to, pull the information from the MLS. So what you want to do is you want to click on MLS Connect. Once you click on MLS Connect, all you have to do is put the MLS ID. You can include a picture of the property if you wanted to, and then import that information. And once you import that information, it's going to import throughout the form, and all this information about the property is going to be filled out, and all the information about the listing agent is also going to be filled out. So that's important, MLS Connect. And like I said, I'm not going to do a training on that because that's a whole nother class. I just want to give you an overview of the system right now. All right, here's another one. So we finished MLS Connect. Let's go into e-signatures. E-signatures, you have to have already selected your e-signatures provided. By default is digital ink, which is already tied to Zipform. But you can also change it, and you can change it to DocuSign if you have a DocuSign account. Now people ask me, what is the difference between DocuSign and digital ink? All I say is digital ink is free, DocuSign is not. Although DocuSign has a really good platform, it's a more secure, transaction. It's more secure on the back end. It's more secure and so on. So it does have benefits. So I recommend that you check it out. But if you go to your profile, and let me go to your profile by clicking on the picture here. If you had a picture, I don't have a picture right now. If you click here in the profile, you will see all these buttons here: About Me, Sign In Security, Offices, Forms, Products, Settings, and Notifications. and then you can go from here and you can select, you know, all the things that you want. So on the products, I think it's on the products right here. It says, no, this is not the products. On settings, I'm sorry. On settings, here you go. On settings, you can select whether it's DocuSign or digital ink. I use digital ink myself, you know, but you're free to use whoever you want. So that's that. So once you have already selected, I'm going to close this right now. Once you have already selected that, all you have to do is click on the button that says e-signatures. I'm going to go back so you can see it. So I'm going to click on the button that says e-signatures. Okay. It's going to ask you which documents you want to include. You can include all the documents in the transaction, some of the documents in the transaction. I'm not going to include the cover sheet because there's no signatures there. But if I was doing a purchase agreement, for example, I'm just going to click on the purchase agreement and then go all the way to the bottom here, close that. And now I'm going to click on next. And then this button right here, that's where everybody gets lost. It's like, okay, how do I add the people? You can add the people by clicking on this button right here. You go to transaction parties, and then you can select the person that is going to sign the form. So let's say I'm going to sign the form. I'm the selling agent here, so I put myself there. Now, watch this. There's another thing that a lot of people don't know about this. You, on the transaction parties, if you're selecting multiple people, I'm just going to select a bunch of people here. It's telling me that she doesn't have an email. So I'm going to select a bunch of people here. You can actually reorder this by grabbing the person and moving it. So you see now I am in number 1 position, Stacy's in the number 3 position, but if I move Stacy to number 1 position here, Stacy's going to get the form, she's going to sign it, and once she signs it and it's done with that, it's going to go to the second person. Now watch this. I personally don't like that. I want everybody to sign at the same time. So what I do is I just move everybody to first position. And that's just me personally. Like, I don't want to wait until Stacy signs the form, because what about if Stacy's out of the city or on vacation or something, right? And she doesn't sign the forms. Well, the buyer and the seller are waiting for the forms to be signed by Stacy in order to get them signed, or vice versa. You know, we're waiting for a buyer to sign the forms. He's out of town or whatever. You know, I don't like to do that. So I want everybody to sign at the same time, so I move everybody in the first position. Here's another thing that most people don't know how to use, which is the CC list. On the CC list, if you put an email there, let's say, for example, you're sending an offer to your buyer to sign, and you already signed it, or you're about to sign it, right? And you want that after the offer is sent, is forwarded over to the listing agent. You can do that. You can actually put the listing agent's information here, and what it does, the system does, is that once it's fully signed, it's going to send it over to the listing agent or to whoever you send it to. Obviously, all the parties, all the signature parties are going to be receive a copy. So you don't have to do the signature parties because they're obviously going to receive a copy. But if you want to include somebody else, like a TC or a listing agent or selling agent or something like that, you can put them on the list. So that's another thing that most people don't know about that. All right. So then after that, you go next. You know, signatures. If the form originated in Zipforms, then the form will already have the signatures already in the forms. If the form is an outside form, that means that the form was not originated in Zipforms. That means that you uploaded the form. Then you're going to have to drag and drop the signatures, because they don't know, Zipform doesn't know from this form that you uploaded, they don't know where the signatures belong. So you have to go and grab those signatures and put them in. But if the form originated from Zipforms, then the signature lines are already going to be there, as you can see it here. This is just a sample. This is not the actual signatures. This is just a sample of what it's going to look like. And then you click on send and you send it over. So this is like a quick, like, boom, you know, quick review on how e-signatures work, okay? Because I have all the things that I want to talk to you about too. So let me change that, say no, I'm going to go back to the forms. All right, so that's that. Let's see what else. If you wanted to add a form, people ask me, how do I add a form into the folder, all right? So if you needed to add a form, all you have to do, let me go back to my forms here. No, actually, let me go back to the folder. So I'm in the main folder right now. If you go here to where it says add doc right here, you can add a form, and it's going to ask you whether you want to browse it in your computer or you have it in Gmail or Google Drive or Dropbox or whatever. I usually put them on my computer. So if I were to browse for a file, I'm looking for a PDF file. Let me see one here. I don't know. Let me try this one here. This is a PDF file, right? So all you have to do is select the file and click OK, and now it's going to upload it into the system. And once again, if you use this file, if you're going to send this file over for signatures, once again, Zipform doesn't know where the signatures go. So you're going to have to do the drag and drop, the signature in e-signatures, because Zipforms won't know that. For the rest of the forms that are here, it's going to know that, but not for this one. Let me see what else. Somebody asked me another question. I'm trying to remember here. Let me see. So share, add folder, move folder. Yeah, I think that's about it for this. Also, you have your buttons for print, email, save as documents, etc., etc. But those are the most important features that they have right now. I just wanted to give you kind of an overview because the format has changed a little bit. You can still go back to my Zipforms training, which I have like a 15-minute of step-by-step guidance. But this one is just a sample of what it looks like. So if you have any other questions, please ask me, because I'm here to help you in any way I can. If you like the channel, just subscribe. If you need any help, call me back, 562-762-9634. Once again, 562-762-9634. This is Rony Velasquez, and have a fantastic day.